jaded in the sense of like nature is in harmony and balance. That's like this Western idea of like everything so harmonious in nature.
It's terrifying.
It's the opposite, you know?
It's such a dumb perspective. And it's so misinformed. It's just based on idealistic perspectives. It's based on, this idea of a utopia that exists in the woods. It's just not. It's tooth, fang, and claw.
Correct.
It's fucking chaos.
It's also based on disconnect, in my opinion.
Yes.
If you've spent time in the wild, if you've spent time, I don't care if you're fishing, hunting, hiking, camping, whatever, but like somewhere that is really raw, you're like, holy shit, no, it's not, all Shangri-La out here. Like, it is eat or be eaten. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. No other video of the orang pendek? Is that?
That seems to be it. I found a video that looks less fake, but it's the same video, so it just did a better job.
All right, let's see what that one looks like. It looks less fake.
Oh, actually, I just lost it. I'll be honest with you. I have the one that we looked up. It's that video.
It's the same one.
All the stories, all the Daily Mail, everything goes back to that video.
Oh, okay.
Must have been that. I think I might have seen just a clip of it, not that longer.
Yeah, they probably didn't show the one when he's running on the road itself because it looks so fake.
So it looks like shit. Yeah. Versus the one where he darts across. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a naked person.
Yeah, it does.
Like a person in a spandex costume.
Dude, I went to a wedding in downtown Los Angeles a couple years ago, and there was a guy, probably had a mental illness, but he was like 6'5", walking down downtown LA, butt naked with this massive schlong just bouncing between his knees. It looked like a different species to me. I mean, this huge beard, like 6'5", massive dude just trotting down the street of
If you
LA.
saw that in the woods, going in between the trees from a distance,
100%.
You would say, "Oh my God, there's giants in the woods."
I'm a Bigfoot believer like that. If I had seen that exact guy cruising through a park, cruising out in the woods, I'm a believer.
Especially if he's covered in dirt and it's dark out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, mentally ill people do wind up moving to the woods.
It's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. I remember there was this one guy who was famous in Maine he was a legend that he would break into people's houses and steal their stuff. And then they found out that he was a real person. And he had dropped out of society in like the 1970s and just decided to completely live by himself. Like, he didn't talk to people for decades.
Oh, wow.
And he was by himself alone in a tent in the woods, and he would just steal stuff from people's houses when they weren't around.
Wow.
Yeah, and like live off of whatever he found or ate, and I don't know like what his like woodscraft was like. Is this it? Stranger in the Woods. Yeah, this
sounds
is the story.
like it.
For 27 years, Christopher Knight lived alone in a clandestine wooded camp in a tiny Rome. I don't know what that is. Undiscovered and unaided, breaking into camps to steal what he needed to survive. When he finally captured and arrested in April 2013, the story of the North Pond Hermit made headlines worldwide. But Knight spoke only to one journalist, Michael Finkel. In an exclusive excerpt from his new book, Finkel explains the origins of the whispered myth that haunted central Maine for decades, the legend of the stranger in the woods.
It's pretty cool.
It is kind of cool.
It's cool. He did his own.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm sure he had all kinds of probably issues, right?
But, yeah, for sure.
But he lived his own, he made his own path. He lived off of stuff. It reminds me, have you ever heard of the Japanese survivor in Guam? Have you heard about that story?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Tell that story.
So from my understanding, during World War II, there was a crash in Guam and from a dogfight. And this Japanese pilot or guy who was in the plane went and hid in a cave up on a mountain in Guam. And he spent until 2002 living in this cave, thinking that World War II was continuing, and he thought he had a better life living in a cave and living off of the jungle because Guam is like a hub for, I think, United or Delta, one of the major airlines. So all these planes are coming in and out every day, and he thinks it's World War II continuing.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's military bases and everything else in Guam. So
was it really 2002?
Jamie would have to look, but it was very recent.
The 80s or something. I didn't know it was that's he must have been old as fuck.
Yeah, he was in his 70s or so. I don't. I'm probably getting the date wrong.
We'll
but
find it. But still, that's so crazy.
But can you imagine?
How would you know? How would you know? And what if you fucked up and went in too early?
Right.
And then it is still World War II and they shoot you.
Exactly.
You just hang out for another year.
Yep. Just I'll spend a couple more days in the cave.
Oh my God. So what is
There's two stories actually. We'll go with this one first. Is the one you were talking about. This
Okay,
is his
so
name.
this one,
97.
97.
Oh, died in
he
97.
died in 97.
Yeah,
So
because of
years
World
of service, 41 to 45. And then it says 1972. I
But
guess.
do you see that? 28 years of hiding in
Yeah.
the jungles of Guam.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about there with 45.
So
they found him in 72.
I just saw a story this morning, which it's not new. It apparently was in 2013. There was a man. A man took his 2 sons after Vietnam came, and they were hid in the woods for 40 years.
Wow, forced to live off rats and make loincloths out of tree bark. Man who spent 41 years living in the jungle after fleeing Vietnam War makes emotional return to his former home. 41 years.
so
Look at the
didn't have
picture of him.
Social skills, obviously, and he didn't know what a woman was. He said
Really?
his father didn't tell him what a woman was. They saw 5 people their whole life and hid from him in the woods when they saw him. This is according to what I read earlier today.
God.
Do you think,
Oh, my God.
like, would you, if you're put into his position, is it worth living
He's
like
85?
His father was.
Oh.
Father 85.
I just
2
looked at
sons.
that really
Yeah.
quick. I'm like, God damn, he looks great. Maybe that's how we're supposed to live.
Yeah, Rat Head was his favorite.
Rat head.
dude,
Well, who doesn't like a
favorite
good rat head? Why is his haircut so good?
that? That's a good question.
This is bullshit.
I think this is after they found him and they took him back to take pictures and show. He was probably
fuck
showing them what
off.
he was doing the whole
They
time.
redressed him. This is
Let's see,
horseshit.
Look right here.
Yeah, they redressed him.
After
They
3
redressed
years.
him in rags.
yeah,
what he looked like
for
when
the
they found him.
photos.
That's what he looked like
That's
when
a
they
little
found
better.
him. Yeah, that looks like a guy living in the woods. Wow. Rat head. He was eating rat heads. What does it say? His son was killed? What does it
I'm
say?
not sure.
One day his wife and 2 of his sons were killed by a mine explosion, putting
Yeah.
him in a state of shock. He took his 2-year-old son and fled into the jungle, thereafter never having any contact with anyone else. The pair survived by foraging fruit and cassava from the forest and planting corn. They wore loincloths made of tree bark and lived in a timber hut raised 5 meters above the ground. Cassava is not the stuff that you need to boil and filter and strain.
No.
What am I thinking of? That's the other
probably
stuff.
Taro root.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, cassava is like a potato, basically.
Right,
Yeah.
right. What is the one that like actually has strychnine in it? It's very common in the jungle of Central America and South America.
I think taro is what you're referring to because it's very starchy and basically inedible until you boil it down.
Is that what it is?
I think so. That doesn't sound familiar.
It doesn't sound right. Taro, I know what taro is. But taro, like they make taro chips.
Yeah.
Like you could eat taro chips.
But
This stuff they boil down. They turn it into like a meal.